Hey everybody, it's Friday, September 25th, and every day in September without snow is a good day in September. So I hope you're enjoying this lovely fall weather we've been having. Today I want to talk with a really dear friend of mine. Her name is Val Lieske. She is a creative artist, professional artist in Calgary, and we've done lots of work together, and she's got a great heart and a great sense of just the difficulties of what's going on. She loves the Lord, and she has fantastic creative ways of expressing that. And so we're gonna go. I want you to meet Val, and we're gonna have a talk with her. So let's go to Val now. Good morning, Val. How are you today?
Is it morning? Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. I'm good.
I'm good. You got the sun shining in on you. That's a great frame. That's, the way you have yourself lined up there. I got like books and stuff. Nah, it doesn't look as good as yours. Yeah, look at you. Click.
Right?
Somebody's painting this right now.
Hope so.
Well, Val, you do a lot of things. One of your main things right now is Fire Exit Theater and Ambrose University. Tell me a little bit about how these roles play out in your life.
Well, I founded Fire Exit Theater 19 years ago. I was 4.
You are a liar. You were 2.
Right? I looked 4. I was 2. I started it as, I guess, selfishly as a bit of an outlet for me. At that point, I was volunteering at my church. I consequently went on to work at my church in a creative arts ministry. But I really wanted to have a space that was outside of the church to create for a few reasons. I wanted the regular population, the non-believing person, to feel comfortable just coming to a theater, not coming to a church building, of which there is lots of baggage for lots of people. No matter how cool we think we are, how sexy those lights are, there are people that will never come to our Christmas production. So I wanted to be downtown Calgary in a theater space. And there was honestly some things I wanted to talk about, some stories that I wanted to tell that I realized I would never be able to tell in a church setting from a sanctuary stage. That's fine. I respect that space. But there's some real life stuff that is not safe and fun for the whole family that I wanted to do. So I started this little company. We're a semi-professional company, and we do 4 shows a year. We do a fundraiser. We do a big playwriting competition. We do a blessing of the artists every year. We do a summer drama camps for kids, and so that's a part of my life, a huge part of my life for sure. In the midst of that, I am also an arts chaplain. So I'm trying to chaplain this crazy, broken community of artists, whatever that looks like. I'm figuring that out. And then a few years ago, myself and a colleague, we started a theater program at Ambrose University and a dance minor. So now we sort of are in charge of the fine arts department, which is called Ambrose Arts, which is music, theater, and dance. And so I hang out there a little bit too. And we actually have some students on campus. With all the hoo-ha, all the masks, all the distancing, all the stuff, we actually are open for business. We're 3 weeks in, so far so good. No big things have happened to my knowledge. So, yeah.
And Val, we've been able to work on some things together too. You directed my Ecclesiastes show, which also played a Fire Exit and in other places. And then you co-directed with me on my movie, the Mark movie. So, I appreciate you so much. Your creative arts, your skill, your friendship, your humor, your faith, all of that just means so much to me. So I want to talk to you a little bit today because I know you think about this a lot and you're in it a lot. These are days, and I'm sure you see this with the communities that you're chaplaining and chaplaining. Is that a word? Chaplaining.
Oh, it's like a verb?
That conjugates chaplain. He chaplains, she chaplains. Anyway, okay. The people that you are a chaplain too, and others. This is a season of lots of fear, lots of isolation, depression's on the rise, suicide's on the rise, all that kind of stuff. How do you you find hope in these days? How do you bring hope in these days? And in particular through your faith and through art. Is that too big of a question? That's a big question. How are you fixing things, Val? That's what I need to know. Val, how are you fixing things?
I'm on it. Don't you worry. Yeah, it's interesting because, I think the arts community was one of the first to shut down, and will be some of the last to reopen, to be able to gather again in giant groups at concerts, theaters, at operas, at symphonies. We were talking earlier about just the community itself is very stressed. Most of the big organizations are not going to open for a total of 18 months, potentially. It's a long time. So artists are in the mix of also being sad with the rest of the community.
Right.
It's also interesting to me that although the artists were sort of deemed non-essential, it's the number one thing we've actually spent the last 5 months doing is in the last 5 months, Netflix has increased by 16 million subscribers. The award-winning play Hamilton, which is streaming on Disney Plus, has had over 1 million views. So we have spent thousands of hours consuming content, reading books, listening to music, doing virtual concerts, watching theater that's being streamed and opera, watching Netflix and Crave. And so we've actually been leaning on the artists, those non-essential artists, to sort at the very least distract us, right? But hopefully also to inspire us, to give us hope,
give us meaning,
give us meaning, right? For me, art is just a huge way of how I process the world through story. So for me, it's how I make sense of the senseless. It's whether I'm supporting the arts by sitting somewhere and watching it or creating it myself. I think art and creativity is the foundation of our humanness. It is, I always love to say that being creative was by a creator, that the very first way that the way that God defines himself to humanity is in the beginning, God created. So the very first way he says, hey, I'm God, I'm creative. He doesn't introduce himself as a savior, the forgiver of our sins, the rescuer, the bridegroom, none of those other things. He's very first thing he says is, hey, nice to meet you. I'm creative and I'm going to create you in my image. So you're also going to be a little creative. Right?
That's cool.
So I think we all have that. We're not all capital A artists. But we all have this, I think, longing for great story, this longing for beauty. And I think stuff that we thought was maybe frivolous or gratuitous. Why would we spend money on going to the opera or buying beautiful paintings? I think now we're starving for that. We're starving for that, right? Last week I was invited to see a staged reading of a new play. So not a full production, literally actors at music stands, just reading this play. 15 people, socially distanced, masks on, to just sit in a room and listen to live actors speak beautiful words. At one point near the end of the play, all of the actors break into one verse from O Night Divine. Honestly, people in the audience just crying. That would never happen on Zoom. It just wouldn't.
Right.
But to have live, there's something about the energy that comes with being with strangers in a room, watching and hearing beautiful art. I think it connects us. It doesn't have to be overtly Christian, whatever that means, Christian art. It can just be beautiful. It can just be challenging. It can just be thoughtful. I draw hope from that. Right. I draw hope from looking. I love being in the rehearsal hall with actors and designers and directors and all these people who are so much smarter than me, like grappling with how to tell this story in a great way. And everybody brings their tools to the table, and to see something come to life is like remarkable.
Yeah.
It's sacred to me.
Mm.
The rehearsal hall and the theater spaces are a church, right? Small C church to me. It's where vulnerability happens. It's where we're given the permission to sort of laugh and to cry. Even in front of Netflix, we're allowed to do that, right? Right. There's just something that touches us so much deeper than just a sermon. I know you're a preacher, right? But there's something more when you can tell the story of something. Because it is the way Jesus taught.
Yeah.
It's the way.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't, there's not chapters and chapters and chapters in the Bible of like these sermons that with, PowerPoint slide inserts and the 3 C's and that, right? Like there just isn't. It's just him like, sitting on a hill, breaking bread, talking about virgins, right? Like that's how he got the gospel across, right?
Yeah. How does someone, like I think of like you're deep into the art, you're an expert, you're a pro. So someone who is just dabbling or is, most of us are amateurs. How do we get the most out of hearing God speak to us through art?
I honestly ask him before I create, whether it's right. I'm a playwright and a spoken word artist. And before I put the pen to paper or the hands to the keyboard, I ask him, what do you want to say through me? I also am getting into the habit of doing that before I go, maybe like right before the lights go down, before a show starts, before a theater show or a concert, or what do you want me to hear in this story? Right? What do you?
That's good. I like
what is that?
Yeah, you can make the most out of anything, out of any Netflix show or whatever.
Yeah.
If you say, Jesus, do you want to say something to me through this?
Yeah. How do you want to challenge me through a character that I'm probably never going to meet somebody like that, but to see somebody's life portrayed on stage or on film and to create empathy for lives that I will never have to live, whether it's through poverty or homelessness or obviously all the Black Lives Matter movement. And that, like, I've not personally had to experience that, but I can watch other people's stories and it can create empathy in me and create change. Right. So yeah, I often will ask God, like, what do you want to show me? Or it doesn't have to be some giant theological brick, right? Or it can just be, bring me peace through this beautiful music or painting. Or I'm also, again, really careful not to just think that God is speaking through holy Christians and their Christian art and the paintings of crucifixes. God speaks to us, yes, through heathen screenwriters who write some of the most poignant spiritual work about all sorts of social justice issues, all sorts of redemption stories. God's using them. So, right, I'm not sort of just waiting for him to show up in the pages of Christian novels. He's showing up everywhere, right? All kinds of beautiful art, all kinds of television and film and dance, right? So I just ask him, like, you're already present here. Is there something for me today? Is there something that you want me to take from this piece?
That's so good, Val. Hey, so you created this piece you called the COVID piece. Is that the name of it, or does it have even a better name than that?
I called it Step Away.
Step Away. And what is it? We're gonna play that here just to bless people. What's the gist of it? What are you trying to communicate through it?
I think I was just thinking about all this ridiculous. It's not ridiculous, but all the physical distance, all the things that are now keeping us from one another. How do we acknowledge that and grieve that? I think that I'm sad. I'm sad that I didn't get to hug my mom for 3 months, right? And that I can't shake hands with people. And but then to flip that also and figure out how are we going to become, how do we still be intentionally close to people? And maybe it's this, maybe it's Zoom, and it's texting, and it's meeting in a park, and it's going for a walk. We've had to be a lot more creative about it, but yeah, it's just a little rant about COVID.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Val. You know, I'm super proud of you. I love you tons, and I'm so glad we're friends. And continue to pray for you and bless you as you care for so many people and yourself.
And myself.
Okay, see you later. Well, as I've always said, the reason why I do these videos is because I want to encourage you. I want to give you practical tracks to run on, to keep your hopes up and your optimism high. And, you know, art does this. I think of the story of Saul and David. When Saul was being tormented by the evil spirit, David would play music. He would just play his harp. And when he did that, Saul's spirit was calmed. And there's something just so incredibly beautiful about music, about art done well, that moves us. And these days, we need to be moved by beauty, because we can so easily be trapped down by everything that's discouraging. And art can feel like, well, that's just an extra. We'll do that later. Right now, I got 10 problems on my mind, and choosing a good movie is not one of them. And I would just say, take the time to be inspired by art, by movies or music or books or dance or opera or whatever, and allow God to speak to you and encourage you. If you create art, then create it these days, and allow it to express what's going on in your heart. Who knows how that would be freeing to you and maybe a blessing to others. God, like Val said, is the creator. He is creative, and he's made us to be creative. And so let's lean into him these days, and let's say we're not going to let COVID shut everything down. We are going to still open up expression and beauty from within us and celebrate it around us. May God bless you through that endeavor. And hope you have a great weekend. This weekend, I'm looking forward to Sunday. Pastor Michael is speaking, and he just brings so much passion and joy and love for the word and love for people in his preaching. So I'm looking forward to hearing him on Sunday. So hope you can join us. Hope you have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.